Like, feel it. Anticipating. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rumboyz Fantasy Sports Network.
What's up?
It is your host, Robbie J, El Capitan, with the co-host, Ty Boogie.
What's up, guys? What's up?
And we have a very, very special guest, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Rank. Feel free to introduce yourself, brother.
What's going on? Oh my gosh, I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate how much you dressed up, because if I'm seeing this correctly, and I'd like to believe that I am, I think that I think the Sean Taylor, though, that really is probably, I would say, outside of, like Pat Tillman or something, perhaps the best throwback that you could possibly, that's instant respect. Like you automatically like that person. So maybe that's what I need to do more. Maybe I should, but I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want the sympathy, because I know a lot of the Redskin fans are not super thrilled with me at the moment. But you know what? I do what I do, and but I'm honored to be on with you, gentlemen.
We're honored to have you.
More than honored. Honestly, if you wore a Sean Taylor, they might like you a little bit more, actually.
Nope. And then
it would make it worse. No, it would make it worse. No, it would seem, even though I'm a huge Sean Taylor guy, I'm like, nope, you can never wear, after picking us to go 2-14, you can never wear that jersey again. You have to wear I can't even think of like what an appropriate Redskins jersey would be.
We will.
Who's
gotta get you a Dwayne Haskins. I
can't even think of like,
oh,
there it is. Maybe.
As you see, you have your fellow Bears fan here
sir.
as well.
Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate him being for me. I do. I noticed that. I noticed the Eddie Jackson, which I'm assuming that's the Eddie Jackson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rockin' Club Dub today.
So I love that. So I knew, like, at least when you come in, there's at least one guy who's friendly with you. So it's like a good cop, bad cop scenario. I'm like, well, at least one guy is not. I'm over with one person. The other person, probably not so much, but I'm used to it by now.
We'll see. We'll see. So first question I wanted to ask, just how did you get into, the industry within itself? I mean, you're on Good Morning Football. You have your podcast. Like, how did this all come to fruition for you?
It was really just one of those things where I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in college. My parents were like, "You're going to college," because my two sisters did not want to. So they're like, "Listen, nobody's done it before. You do it. I know you want to go be a comedian or whatever, but at least placate us. At least go to the state college down the street and try to make something of your life worthwhile." And then I'm like, "I'm going to go into fantasy sports." And they're like, "Why do you hate us?" Why could you? It's their own fault. Like, I could have gone out and done entertainment or whatever, but this is the thing. So I was doing it, and I was like a business major. I'm like, I don't know, like, just give me whatever. Business just sounds like a rando major you would just pick. Yeah. It's like people who, it's like whatever. Like the average dude from my high school was a business major or whatever it is, But then I got into journalism, and I started writing and covering high school sports for the LA Times, and got some crazy internship with NFL Publishing and did that for 3 years. And then I was done with school, and it was the end of my internship. And normally I would go back. They're like, "Hey, we'll see you later." And they have a huge send-off party, but they didn't have one because the guy who was the boss was gone. And I was at a bar. I don't know if I should, well, whatever. I was at a bar, and I was telling my friend, I go, "You know what? I'm going to show up tomorrow and see what happens and just see, like, we'll see." And then I showed up. And then nobody said anything. And for 2 weeks, I was just sitting there still collecting paychecks. The boss came back, was like, "What are you doing here still?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm working on this football card set." And he's like, "No, right, whatever." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is actually working." And I know you guys are probably not old enough to remember a show called Seinfeld. Yeah. But it was kind of it was a play out of that playbook. It was the Costanza. So I totally Costanza'd my way into that position. And then, you're working for the NFL. You're like, "I'm not leaving this." Like, no, I'll do whatever you want. And then somehow started writing about fantasy sports. And then next thing you know, I'm on TV doing podcasts. I'm getting people leaving me clown emojis on YouTube. Like, it's been a pretty fulfilling and fascinating career. And I understand. I'm so happy now that somebody explained to me, because I'm a huge wrestling guy. And one of my favorite wrestlers she's Asuka, the Empress. And she uses because she has multicolored hair and she has a white mask that she uses. So she always uses the clown emoji. And I'm like, why is everybody leaving me the Asuka thing? The Empress? Like, does she hate me? Is she a Redskins fan and I didn't realize this? They're like, no, idiot, you're a clown. Like, what is wrong? I'm like, okay, this is why I hang out with millennials, so they can kind of keep me in check with this stuff, so I know what's going on.
Very cool story. Yeah. That's awesome.
Hey, follow our show. Yeah. You'll definitely always stay young.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah. So one of our big questions, if you did not see, we actually had the privilege of interviewing this year's rookie draft class, at least 40 of them. Honestly, an amazing honor that we both got to do and meet some of these guys that we did get to meet. One of the big questions they like to ask us actually is, what are some of your motivations that have kept you here, kept you going? So I'd like to ask the same thing to you, either now or when you were getting into it. What's one of your motivations that keeps you wanting to do this every day besides it being the NFL?
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, it's something that you love and something that you want to do. It's not the easiest road to get here. When you see your friends go out and they go on and they do other jobs. And I know even when you were in college and guys would be working as bartenders or waiters or whatever and still making a lot of money, it was such an easy avenue or such an easy out to just start to take that money. Like, you're not getting rich doing this right now. Like, you're probably doing this as a passion project. You're hopefully, like, you'll get a sponsor one day, or you'll get this, you'll get that, and kind of working your way up. You really have to put in the time, and you really have to believe in what you're doing and love what you're doing. I mean, it's similar to anybody who's doing comedy. They're a musician or an actor or anybody like that. Like, there's a long list of talented people who at some point just said, I can't do this anymore. I'm like prime earning years and I go want to work for, Charles Schwab or whatever it is, or I'm going to go sell real estate, and you fight that temptation to do it, because there's a lot of times where you'll be faced with that. Well, you will say to yourself, like, this isn't worth, like, I should be making money. Like, it sucks. Like, having to go out and, everybody can order whatever they're ordering, whatever off the menu. And you're like, yeah, I'll just have an appetizer and that's going to be it for me, and a water or whatever.
Good. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, one time I want to go out and be able to order a margarita and not have to worry about it. But that was just one of the things that kept me going. Like, there were times where I was like, well, maybe I'll do this or maybe I'll do that. But I knew that if I wasn't working in sports and doing something that I really love, that it wasn't going to be fulfilling to me. And so I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And, whether it was not leaving my internship, whether it was taking internships concurrently, because I worked for a minor league baseball team, I would still go out and cover high school sports and do whatever I could just to keep getting out there and keep doing things, starting my own podcast when people are like, nah, we don't believe in that vision here. So I'll do it myself, and just finding ways to keep it going. And so far, so good, knock on wood and all that stuff. It's been working out for me, but it's something that I believe in. And at some point you know whether whether you're passionate or not, because we're not getting rich right off the bat. So it's something that you really have to love. And I know that I can't question my love for it. That's for sure.
100%. I can absolutely resonate with that. For me starting out, we're about 8 months young. October 10th, we hit our first year of officially doing this. Helped a lot of people, in fantasy and stuff like that. Started off, our very first interview was a former wide receiver. It was on practice squad. Went from that, interviewing 40 NFL rookies. Shout out to Sportscaster for hooking us up with that. And now it's just you have to put it in, and if you don't put in that hard work, like when I interviewed Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, Ridley, so on, the list goes on. They all said the same thing, I can't stand the Cowboys. Tony Pollard, still like said the same stuff, You just gotta decide if you're gonna wake up and you're gonna grind and want it.
For sure. No, yeah. That was accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody that you interviewed, everybody that you mentioned right there, they knew somebody along the way, and you could probably ask them, like, who is better than you? There was some kid in Little League, Pop Warner, whatever it is. They will be able to instantly recall, yeah, there was some guy who was as good as I was or was better than me. But you know what? People fall off the wayside and they go they do their other things. And I know when I was in college, like there were guys in my classes who were way better than me. Like they were great storytellers, they were great writers and all this stuff. But you know what? People don't always just want to follow through. And a lot of it is just not going away. Like you can say like talent, you know, that carries you, of course, but man, there's something to be said about people who are willing to do the grind and then never go away.
Yeah, Matt, you said the exact same words that Matthew Berry told us outside the Rose Bowl. Like exact same words.
For sure, yeah.
You no one will outwork me. You guys ready to get into some football?
Always.
All righty.
Oh yeah.
So Ty, I'll let you go first. I'll let you start off.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm wearing the Bears jersey. We know you're part of Club Dub, so not that it's a major debate because I really agree that we're going to have a great season. But I mean, the fact that I can talk some Bears football with someone of your caliber, I had to do it. So, I mean, I surprisingly actually have them going 12-4. I know watching your video, you had them 13-3, which I was much happier that you decided they were going to get that extra thank you. But I mean, I just wanted to see, again, not necessarily a debate, but just, you know, what you think about our team going forward. I mean, I like some of the moves we've made. And
first, to be technical, he had them undefeated, and the janitor.
Okay, he had them undefeated. Right? Trust me, I was dancing with you. I was club dubbing with you when I saw it. So.
Yeah, we were just having a little bit of fun. I just realized this is one of those production things where you're like, I can't push it, especially for the Packers. Like the Raiders one, I probably could have done, and I forget the other loss that I had, but the Packers one was just not going to, the Chargers. I'm like, that's not going to sit well with me. So I'm not pushing that button or whatever. So he was able to do it for me. But, you know, the one thing that I look at, and let's talk about both sides of the football, offensively, this is Mitch Trubisky's first full year with Matt Nagy, an opportunity to go out there and learn and grow a little bit. And realize he was a one-year starter at North Carolina. He didn't get a lot of opportunity when he was playing for John Fox. You know, I don't know what John Fox was doing, but it wasn't developing a quarterback. I don't know if he knew he was on his way out and he didn't care or whatever it was. But I'm doing it out here so I don't annoy everybody. I just annoy everybody who's walking by. Listen, I'm making points on the Bears. Hold on, this is very important. This is what happens. So I sit there. This is an opportunity, though, for Mitch, full offseason, to fully kind of get into the offense. And the one thing that's excited me is they drafted David Montgomery, somebody that you were probably able to talk to, somebody who fits this offense a little bit better. And you think about the problems they had getting Jordan Howard going last year. They still gave him 250 attempts. So I think that when you have somebody like David Montgomery on the field, if you get him the ball 250 times, exciting things are going to happen. They're not going to be as one-dimensional. Like, it was pretty obvious when Jordan Howard was on the field. You're like, well, they're running the football. They might as well have just broadcasted. No, you guys aren't old enough to remember the Super Tecmo Bowl from back in the day with the 8-bit Bo Jackson. But there are certain plays that you would play, and if you were studying your opponent, which I did because I'm a lunatic, you would be like, oh, when you're in this formation, you only have one play in your playbook out of the eye, and it's a run. And I think that's what happened with the Bears last year, is that every time Jordan Howard was out there, they had to run the football. If you needed 3 yards, he would get you 3 yards. If you needed 6 yards, he would get you 3 yards. Like, that's what he did. So now you have a little bit more versatility there. You bring in Riley Ridley. I don't know what kind of impact he will have, but they already pair him with Anthony Miller, who's going to grow a little bit. Allen Robinson will hopefully be healthy for this entire season. That will help out. Taylor Gabriel is also a pretty good wide receiver. So I think the receiving core is good. The tight ends are good. So there's a lot of talent around him. So hopefully Mitch can't fail. Defensively, I don't care if Vic Fangio is gone, because talent always wins in this league. Chuck Pagano was a good defensive coordinator the 1 year that he did it. The Ravens DVOA was 11th the season that he was doing it. And now you have Khalil Mack for a full offseason. Roquan Smith is not holding out. You got guys like Bilal Nickel, who's going to go out. He's going to grow. He's developing into one of the better defensive tackles in the game. I still like Leonard Floyd. He doesn't have to have double-digit touchdowns. I just think he's a good football player, and sometimes that's enough. Eddie Jackson should not have lasted to the 4th round. People are dumb. He got injured in a big game, and you don't draft him? Like, that's ridiculous. So I look at it, I'm like, their defense, and people don't want to listen to this, their defense might be better. I might be underselling them. I might have had the right idea at 16-0. But listen, they'll play it out. We'll see.
Again, I agree. I mean, yeah, we might have lost a couple pieces here and there, but I mean, we got Clinton Dix. I mean, I've always kind of liked him. He's got some pop to him. Maybe not the best decision maker back there, but again, I think these guys just grow together. Like you said right at the beginning, Khalil Mack, a whole offseason of him getting to kind of poke some of these guys' buttons and show them some of the techniques that he has. I think we only improve both defense and offensively. Cordero Patterson comes in as a wide receiver with a winning mentality coming from New England. So I think we improve both ways. I think our schedule is just a little tough is the only reason I wouldn't put 16-0 quite literally on it.
Right.
We go.
It's not happening, but yeah.
No, we go through some very big teams. So I think that would be the only reason we would regress is just strictly our schedule. Otherwise, I think the team looks good. And they were asking Matt Nagy actually, and he said, we threw the entire playbook at Trubisky in his first year, and he took it. He just kind of had to take it. And now he's got, like you said, a whole offseason to actually kind of grasp onto what he's got to do and to follow in Nagy's footsteps. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see Club Dub going a good 12, 13 times this year.
Yeah, I think I think you guys, I match with him. 12-4. Once again, I just feel like you guys alleviating, Jordan Howard and now getting David Montgomery, that improves your run game. I'm fine with that take. I'm good with that one.
Love it.
I'll give you guys that one. Now,
thank you. Well, that's very nice of you.
Being modest till we get to the Redskins.
Well, just really quick, stick with the Bears. I mean, you guys are the powerhouse of the North right now because of your defense and because of the different things that Matt Nagy brings to your playbook creatively. He's a very creative and outside the box thinker when it comes to calling plays. So with that, and I think that this is also the year that kind of like the rest of the North falls off in a way. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur are going to get along, so I don't think the Packers are going to be as nice.
He has to. But that's the thing with Rodgers is he has to. He can't be the problem because if he doesn't get along with Matt LaFleur, then he becomes the guy who is the problem. Then Mike McCarthy was right all along. So I think that it's going to be a best behavior. It's like when you're in school and your name's written on the chalkboard. He can't get that check mark. So he's got to wait. He's got to be cool. So I think he'll probably try to play along and do whatever he does.
We'll see. I think
that's basically what LaFleur is.
Yeah, I think he gets frustrated with that situation. The Lions, well, they're the Lions. And then Vikings, we figure out that Kirk Cousins is just really robbing them for money.
That's
and Diggs. I feel like Cousins, it doesn't matter what playbook you give him and what talent you surround him, he's mediocre.
Yeah.
Mediocre, and no result in their record.
He lost in week 17. How surprised were you? Must-win game. Bears nothing to play for, really. How surprised were you that he dropped that game?
No, not at all.
Average, yeah.
not at all. Because even when he was with us, we had an opportunity, to move forward in the playoffs. He left, 7 seconds on the clock for Aaron Rodgers to go up there and just stick it to us.
That's Aaron Rodgers.
I get that, but you got to manage the clock better than that.
I agree.
If you know that's Aaron Rodgers over there, you manage the clock better. I want to get into.
Yeah, he should have done a better job.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I wanted to get into being that we're here in Colorado Springs. I had to go ahead and defend the fans, our home fans here. Keep our numbers up. So I had to pick the Broncos. I have them 6-10. Now, that's generous, at least. Yeah, I am being generous.
We're on the. That's the thing. Okay, if they won, let's say the Broncos won 6 games, would you take a victory lap on that? Hey, no. we were 3 times better than you said you were going to be. I mean, I think ultimately when we're picking these games, you're picking these are the playoff teams. These are not the playoff teams. I know it's jarring to see that the Broncos are 2-14. I kind of get what they're doing. I kind of like it. I mean, why not? Because the whole NFL, all these teams, their quarterbacks are getting smaller, they're getting more mobile. Denver's like, we're going the other way. We're getting taller and we're getting less mobile. We'll see what happens. We're getting older. We're gonna do like sometimes that's crazy enough to work. I like to see it. I think from a philosophical standpoint, like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Like when everybody else is going one way, I'm going to do something different. Sometimes it throws people off. It's like when you're playing baseball and you've seen somebody throwing the ball at 90 miles an hour. Then I go up there throwing, 30. Then all of a sudden it looks like it's tough. It's a mix-up. You don't know. You're not ready for that. And I think that the Broncos have a chance to do that. I don't think it's going to work out for them. I think at some point they're going to start bouncing in between, we got to get the young quarterback in there because if they drop their first couple of games, and their first couple of games are very tough. So they drop a couple of games, and you got to go to Drew Lock, and then Drew Lock is trying to learn on the job, and then you have Vic Fangio trying to learn on the job. And that's another thing too. Like as these coaches are becoming younger and offensive minded, he's like, I'm going to get the 60-year-old guy who's never been a head coach. Like it's the exact opposite of everything.
But Flacco's, he's 9-7 against the West. So when you factored that in
with the Ravens,
yes, with the Ravens, but he also has Emmanuel Sanders now.
The Ravens didn't have that good of an offense when he was there. I mean,
exactly.
They were primary defense.
Noah Fant is going to be a beast for Flacco, and Flacco loves to go to the tight end. I really like Hamilton, right there in the middle of the defense, to catch those soft spot passes. And of course, Cortland Sutton. You can't deny him. Phillip Lindsay running the ball back there. I just think that they can maybe, like I said, I put 6-10. I could maybe see them maybe even it out 500, 8-8.
Listen, that's the one cool thing about the NFL is there's a lot of variance and things can break right, things can go their way. But ultimately, when I'm doing the predictions, what I'm going through week to week because it is easy. You look at a lot of teams and you're like, well, this should be an 8-8 team, or this could be a 7-win team, this could be a 10-win team, or whatever. And then you just try to figure out, well, where are those wins coming from? What I was doing is I was going week to week, and I would look at the matchup that week and be like, I don't think Denver's as good as this team, so I'm not going to give them that win. And then sometimes you try to work in some factors like this team's coming off a big game, so maybe they can steal a win here or there. Right. So there's a lot of that going on, and that's the one thing with the Broncos that I have the problem with is that you don't know if Fangio is going to work out. Like we don't know. Like I'm probably a bigger Joe Flacco. I'm with you. I like Joe Flacco more than a lot of people. But once this thing starts to go south, if you're a head coach, the one way that you buy additional years or anything like that is, hey, listen, I'm gonna develop a quarterback. And then if you're going out there with Drew Lock, then things start going sideways. That's not to say that the defense isn't good. I love Von Miller. I love Chris Harris Jr. But you're in a division that has the Chiefs and the Chargers, two teams that you expect to be not only in the playoff mix, in the Super Bowl mix. And I'm bullish on the Raiders. I think the Raiders really improved themselves. That's a tough division. And I feel like once it starts going sideways, it can really start to unravel. And if they were 2-10, 2-14, or 6-10, that's still out of the playoffs. I think the bottom line for me is I don't see them as a playoff team. I know it's jarring to see the 2 wins, but that's sometimes what happens in the NFL. For every winner, there's a loser. And it's not, I can't pick everybody to go 8-8 or 10-6. So sometimes you have to make the difficult decisions.
Understand.
And I apologize to the Broncos and all your friends in Colorado Springs, it's multiple. And much respect to the Air Force Academy and all that stuff.
I don't see them winning a lot of games from their division. Maybe like squeaking a win out of the Raiders. Squeaking. I don't see them beating the Chiefs at all, and I agree. I don't see them beating the Chargers. If half your schedule is losses to your own division, I mean, I agreed with you. I mean, I gave them like one extra.
Oh yeah, I nitpicked at that one because I was like, ooh, I also don't want Denver to hate me. We gotta go to training camps and we gotta go to games and stuff. I need to be good. Next one.
That's literally the worst because you have and I'll have these guys like Chris Harris Jr. used to. He might still, but he follows me on Twitter. I'm like, well, he's going to be pissed. But then you're like, well, I don't want to pick against, you're like, if you start doing that stuff, then it's like, oh no, I don't want to give them wins I don't feel are or I understand where you're coming from. And if I was in this, like if I only was covering one team, I'd be like, yeah, this team's going to the, like every year. I'd be like, they're going to the playoffs. Yeah, I get it.
Right.
But I think and it's cool too, when you go to their training camps, you see them and you see the Broncos over and over again. And you're like, oh, this team, like they look pretty good. Like I get this. And you forget, like, I'm not looking at all the other 31 teams who are just as talented. And these things come down to the smallest of details. And with a rookie coach and a quarter, I mean, it seems it honestly seems like a Hollywood movie. Like it would be the perfect movie where you have an old quarterback. We could have like Dennis Quaid play him. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do it my way. And then De Niro's playing Fangio, and you have Rob Pattinson as Drew Lock. No, you have Ansel Engel or whatever that guy. That guy from Sing, he's Drew Lock, and then you got to have somebody handsome, but is still sort of, I guess Hugh Jackman could be Flacco. Maybe Ben Affleck comes out. I don't know. It's a movie. I'd love to see that movie. I would watch that movie.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do it our own way. As the league is doing everything opposite of what we're doing it the other way. Who knows? Maybe it works. Maybe I will be the motivator. They'll be like, nobody believed in us.
I'm not sure how Fangio will do being a quarterback whisperer either. I mean, again, we know he's clearly a defensive coach. Yes, he now has to be head coach, but even if they do throw Drew Lock in there, like, you know, how much does Drew Lock really learn from a defensive-minded coach?
How much does he learn?
Especially at his age. You know, it's not like he's I don't know.
Yeah, how much does he learn from a quarterback that's not really so willing to like give up that starting position and like help him, you know?
That too.
If Flacco doesn't relive that nightmare again.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I mean, it's gonna happen, but he doesn't want to do it.
And when Drew Lock comes in, it's going to happen the same way he did all over again with Lamar Jackson, where the wins will start rolling in just because, you know, once again, Drew Lock is a quarterback that dealt with adversity at Mizzou. So with quarterbacks that dealt with adversity in college, I absolutely love when they come into the NFL because it's like, oh, that guy's going to play with a chip on his shoulder.
Sure.
Washington, shall we get into Washington?
It's up to you whenever you're ready.
I am absolutely ready. So you
got them in the Super Bowl.
I don't.
Yes.
Accurate. I don't because all right, Redskins fans, you guys can feel free to eat me alive.
Winning the East.
No, I don't have a three.
No, just
I'm absolutely realistic. As a Redskins fan, not getting a Lombardi in the last 27 years, you gotta be realistic. So I do have us at 9-7. Now I do see us splitting the games with the Cowboys because that's usually traditionally what happens. I predict the Eagles sweeping us. We absolutely demolished the Giants. They're not going to put up 40 on us like they did last year late in the season. That's just not going to happen when we're all demoralized and injured and stuff like that. I could say that we are heavily going to depend on a running back by committee situation. I know that Adrian Peterson said he's going to go for 2,000 yards. Be careful drafting him in fantasy because Bryce Love's there, Chris Thompson, and Geis. But and then also the Bama boys, the defense. The defense is going to keep offenses off the field. That defense, our defense is absolutely amazing. We were one of the top defenses last year, and I think that we're only going to be better this year, especially with Montez Sweat on the line now. He only makes it a lot easier for Allen and Payne. Yep, Landon Collins. I'm sketchy about because he's a boxer. He was always in the box. He plays in the box. So
for sure.
I'm worried about that. But fine. But yeah,
you stated your case very well. You have not said anything that was a lie. And I'm going to impart a little wisdom on you. And I want everybody to know when you look, like I got nothing. There's no computer. This is all coming from my dome. For everybody who thinks that I don't research this, am I allowed to cuss? But it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I won't.
On our show,
everybody who thinks, whoever says I don't research this or whatever, I do want to tell you, this is just a little bit of the knowledge that I have. Here's the thing, and this is a couple of the problems that I have with now I will admit this right at the top. Washington hasn't won just 2 games since the 60s, if ever. One of the things about them that's so great is that even when they were bad, they always seem to win more games than they probably should. I think the worst team that I can remember was Mike Shanahan's last year. They went 3-13 the year before Jay Gruden took over. And of course, he had a disastrous first season. His overall career record, I believe, is 35-44-1. But outside of that first year, they're about 500. But the problem is they've never won more than 9 games. They're 0-1 in the playoffs. I don't know who they lost to in the playoffs, but that team is insignificant, and we don't even – it doesn't matter who they are because nobody cares who they lost to in the playoffs that one time. I don't even remember who it was.
It was a bad.
Don't even say it. Don't say it. I said don't say it. Don't say it. We don't need to talk about it, even though we alluded to it a moment ago, talking about Aaron Rodgers. So Washington has always done a great job of always avoiding complete and utter meltdowns. The only problem is that we got a taste of it a little bit last season. Of course, you were 6-3 when Alex Smith was the quarterback. I think he's one of the more underrated players in the NFL. I think he's a good quarterback. He wins you some games, 6-3. But when he went down, and I understand it was Mark Sanchez and Josh Johnson, and you did win one game with Josh Johnson at Jacksonville, but you went 1-7, 1-9, or whatever would have gotten you to 7-9. So it would have been 1-6. That's the preview of what life will be like this year with Case Keenum. And if you got to go to Dwayne Haskins at some point, this is going to be a Jay Gruden thing where either, number one, he's going to try to save his job, and he's going to go to the young quarterback who I think might be, and you saw the OTAs as well as I did, might be a little out of his depth right now. But if you put a young quarterback out there, I'm trying to save my job, it probably isn't going to win you games. Case Keenum isn't going to win you games. And that's the problem is, as great as the defense is, and I think all the guys you were talking about on that defensive line with Jonathan Allen, Sweat, Payne, all those guys, that is a great defensive line. I will not say anything about that. I'm worried they gave way too much money to Landon Collins, $85 million for that guy. You knew it was a bad idea because you wouldn't let Jay Gruden in the room to talk you out of it. You already threw a lot of money at Josh Norman, who's probably on the backside of his career. So the defensive line is great, and they will stop people, and they will keep the games close. I just don't know how you score enough points. Even though that running back by committee could be good, you either have Case Keenum or a rookie quarterback. That's not great. Your wide receivers, they can never find one. And I love Josh Doxson when he was at TCU. I love Paul Richardson when he was at Seattle.
This year.
But it's just – and Jordan Reed. I love Jordan Reed too, but he just can't stay healthy, unfortunately. One of the most gifted players that I've seen play this game. And that's where I just think that, the meltdown happens. You start the season with Philadelphia, with Dallas, then you're at home Monday night. You're not good at home. You're not good on primetime games. You're playing host to the Bears on Monday night in week 3. Then you go to the Giants. And then you have the Patriots. Like, what are you going to do? There's some winnable games because you do have a game at Miami mixed in there and some winnable games. But I just look at it and I say, this is a situation where they could start off 1-4 and be like, it's a bad season that's going to get out of hand. Either Jay Gruden is like, forget it, I'm out, walks away, things get worse. And then you know what? You get a good draft pick out of it. But I think that when I see them, I understand the optimism. And listen, this goes to all the Redskin fans. This is why I don't get mad when you guys are leaving the clown emojis and everything. Listen, I'm a fan of sports too, and I do the same thing. Anybody who ever besmirches Mike Trout, and listen, guys, this isn't payback for all of you saying that Bryce Harper was as good at, because no, he's not better than Mike Trout or as good as Mike Trout. This isn't payback for that, although you kind of deserve it. But it's one of those things. I understand, and you want to be passionate, and anything in the NFL can happen. I'm not the booker of the NFL. I am not Vince McMahon booking Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble or anything like that. The guys will go out on the field and take care of that. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, based on the talent and the questions that I have, what we saw at the end of last season when they lost Alex Smith, I don't believe this is a playoff team. If they win 9 games and go to the playoffs, I will certainly come and apologize. The Adam Rank Tour will go to D.C. next year. I will try to make it up to you as much as possible. By the way, for anybody in Colorado Springs, I will be in Denver August 3rd or 4th. You can check out Denver Improv. It's a Saturday. It'll be a fun show. We can talk fantasy and hang out and all that stuff. 21 and up, unfortunately, so you guys are out.
We'll put it on our schedule.
Thank you. But I don't mean this. I don't say this to be mean. I don't have anything against the Washington Redskins, although, the playoffs in the 80s, my dad still hates them. So I know I still have that. I guess there is a still because it's weird because it's like I don't remember like the 80s like did they win every year? My dad's like no 88 we lost and Darryl Green did this and you're like okay whatever. So that is not influencing me. But I'm just I hate to be this person, but I'm trying to keep it real. I'm never going to lie to you, DC. Like, I wouldn't lie to you. I don't want to come out here and make you feel, I will write nice things about you. I will say like this, I will give you a roadmap to being successful, and I will publish that in the state of the franchise. There is a roadmap to be successful. I don't believe Washington is going to hit it. But until that time, if you want to clown emoji me to death, please do. Just keep it civil. Realize my wife reads that stuff. And and that's all. Just don't bum out my parents and my wife too much, and I think we're all copacetic.
Hey, I'm sure that there's takes on our show that, you know, our 1,600 fans are like, what did you just say? Like
sure.
like when I got into I did a piece on, you know, Louis Riddick just kind of like laying in like there's no way like Carson Wentz MVP, he can't stay on the field. Like I just yeah. So I understand because I got it from Eagles fans. What you got, Ty?
For sure. So I'm gonna move to the next team. I'm gonna go with your boys. Watching, I could not hear you say your guys down in Duval enough. So I want to go over the Jags with you a little bit and see
Duval
and just see what you were thinking with it. I mean, I got them going 8-8. I mean, 11-5. I was like, I get they're a good team. They've made some very good acquisitions actually, but I mean, still losing Malik Jackson, you know, some big guys like that. There's a new head coach, offensive coordinator. We don't necessarily know if Foles is going to be, you know, the magical Nick Foles that he was. You know, I mean, what are you seeing down there that maybe I'm not seeing, or maybe that you're trusting the Jags so much?
I absolutely agree.
It's good. They lost Gibson too. He went to the Texans. So there's been some movement there, but man, the one thing in the draft, they got Jonathan Allen. First of all, adding Jonathan Allen to that defense, because as good as Jacksonville's defense has been over the last number of years, like that was really one of the things that they needed a little bit of help with, was getting pressure on the quarterback, and to be able to address it with the player that a lot of the draft nicks had as a top 5 talent, top 4 talent, perhaps the best defensive player outside of Joey Bosa's brother. To get him, like, this is one of those things. I don't want to equate it to Tim Duncan with the Spurs, but it's one of those situations where, like, it's almost not fair. Like, the Jags should not be rewarded for a bad season by getting one of the top defenders to go to the defense. It's already pretty good. And then you got Jalen Ramsey out there. I think he's matured a little bit. I believe this was like watching Major League. Again, I'm referencing shows and movies you've never heard of, but you know, there's always a little bit of comeuppance for these teams that just talk a little bit too much without really winning anything. That like, oh, you got to be dealt a little bit of humble pie. And I think that that's what Matt Nagy is doing by constantly showing the kicker video, so the Bears don't get too club dubbish. Like us idiot fans will do that, but he doesn't want the team to do that. He wants to keep them grounded and keep them humble. And I think that Doug Marrone kind of lost his way last season in kind of clamping down on the Jags and being like, bro, we didn't accomplish anything. We didn't win a Super Bowl. We didn't win that AFC championship game. We got to go that next step. But I think now that they've been dealt with a little bit of adversity, I think they understand what they need to do to get back to that level. And so you bring in a guy like D. Phillip to work with Foles. That's where he had his greatest success.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that he's going to go out there, and I think that he's going to be the big Nick energy that he had up in Philadelphia. Big Nick. That's with an N. Big Nick energy.
I know.
Oh, we heard it.
So my thing is, well, like with Leonard Fournette, I mean, he can't. Once again, you know, this is a player that is so heavily relied on in that offense and can't stay healthy. With him absent out of the offense, I mean, there's no run game for Nick to be able to develop to pass the ball downfield. There's no distraction for the defense. They're going to be keying on those receivers all day. DD becomes useless at that point. Cole becomes useless at that point.
I mean, Bortles had like 100 yards less on the ground than Fournette did. Like, I get the amount of games is different, but like I agree with that. My only other thing with Nick Foles is like the amount of weapons that he had in Philly was ridiculous. Like, Zach Ertz is one of the top 2 tight ends I think in the whole league, has been for a while, aside from Kelsey. Alshon Jeffrey, I mean, sad to see him go from the Bears, but I think the dude is fantastic. He's a go up there and get it type of guy. And there's just not that much, on Jacksonville to deal with. Like you said, I mean, D.D. Westbrook is like the number one big guy there. And again, Fournette not being healthy, I just don't know. I mean, Foles is going to have to almost like Patrick Mahomes this year and just take it all under his own wing and do it.
Like, didn't we rank in fantasy? Like, didn't we rank coming into 2019? Like, DD's like way down on the list. He's like 40s, 50s, like 50s, 60s almost.
For sure. Again, he's a great receiver, but I mean, they just haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver in years. Not even one that I can remember. So
Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell and players like that. It's been a long time, but I think there is some talented players there, and I think that D.D. Westbrook, Marquise Lee's been pretty good. DJ Chark, somebody who's very talented. I just don't think that we got an opportunity to see them last year because of what happened. Because of the regression of Blake Bortles, and it just didn't give them an opportunity to grow and show a little bit of what they're able to do. But you know what? I'm a big believer. I thought that Nick Foles was not really given a great chance. I thought that earlier in his career he was a lot better than he was given credit for. But then he went to Jeff Fisher, which is like, what are you doing? That's like, it's your car needs an oil change and you're taking it to the salvage yard. Like, what are you doing? No, you go to Jiffy Lube. You don't take it to the dump. Like, no, that's not what you do. And he was able to revive his career. He's a good quarterback. He's a credible quarterback. And I think it's the game plan that Washington wants to do. It's what you were talking about earlier, like where the defense is so good and you just want to win some close games. But that's why I have a little bit more confidence in a team like the Jags. And I think that, this is probably my own personal bias into situations like this where I'm looking at the quarterback situation. Can this quarterback win you games? And I know that Philadelphia wanted to go to Carson Wentz. I don't know if that was the right decision. I might have stuck with Nick Foles. This is a guy who's a proven winner in this league. He wasn't a fluke. He went out there and beat the Patriots. He went up there and lit up the Patriots. And you can talk about coaching staff and you can talk about weapons and all that stuff. Nobody had more weapons last year than Jared Goff. All that opportunity, all those great players. He couldn't score a touchdown on them.
Yeah.
Nick Foles put up 50 points on the Patriots on the biggest stage. So I'm not saying that he's going to go out there and do it each and every week down for my friends down in Duval County, Florida. But that is a monumental upgrade that Jacksonville team understands what needs to happen. Like you got to remember, Tom Coughlin is still there. He's got the game plan. If there's one person who knows how to take down the Patriots dynasty, it's Tom Coughlin. And I don't care if he has to go and fire Doug Marrone during the season and go down there and assume that job himself. He needs to get it done. Duval is coming on strong. And listen, this is the problem. Everybody always wants to smirch him and think it's the same old crappy Jags, but this is not. This is a good team. They've got a lot of talent. They're brimming with talent. And I think that Leonard Fournette is going to go out there and have one of the best seasons of his career. Listen, he's had injury problems. It goes all the way back to his time at LSU. And am I taking a little bit of a leap of faith? I will have to admit that I'm a human being. That's what I do sometimes. I like to believe in people. And if that makes me wrong, then I don't want to be right.
Exactly. I feel you.
No, I mean, again, I agree. I can't see them losing. I mean,
you don't agree. You said that they were the worst franchise in NFL history. How dare you?
Oh, no, that would be the Dolphins.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I think they go 500. I mean, I think a lot of these little close games, they can notch it out. I don't know about winning over 10 games, but for sure I got them within a 7 to 9 idea. So
that's fair too.
I respect the defense.
Well, it's also fair to say because that division is so good. The Colts are absolutely a Super Bowl contender. The Texans should be in the Super Bowl if they could fix their offensive line woes. I was a little bit down on the Titans because I think their quarterback situation is going to hold them back. They're elevating Arthur Smith to be their offensive. I don't even look at that guy. And I don't want to play this game, but you look at Arthur Smith. He looks like the guy you talk to when you're pissed off at Chili's. They didn't get your awesome bossum right. They send the manager over to the table, and that guy's like, you know what? I'm going to comp your drinks. I'm like, well, how about another round? Because I'm super mad. Because I like to stretch things a little bit.
My man,
but that's going to be the guy calling the play with Marcus Mariota.
Over here doing comedy.
You could have just.
Do this.
let's see. So we both
What
got
happened? What did I say? Did I go too far?
no,
No, that was perfect. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying. You could absolutely have been a comedian if you,
Full
if you
time.
didn't work in the NFL. This is fantastic.
So we both have one more apiece.
You're too kind. Well, thank you.
So we both have one more apiece. Now mine, I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans. I got them 7-9. I know that you gave them what 4-14. Just they them getting the weapons that they've gotten now with Humphreys. I feel like Delaney Walker is gonna be healthy. You got Corey Davis on the outside there. There's just too much to deal with. I mean, Derrick Henry is looking like he's starting to come into his own finally.
Maybe.
That's the one, but that's the one thing. I mean, we talked about this, talking about Arthur Smith, relying on him to be the guy who's going to get the ball to Derrick Henry. This has been a Derrick Henry thing every season. We always talk him up. This is going to be it. It's like, it's like when you're going to see a new DC movie. You're like, no, this is the time. Like Suicide Squad, you can't mess this up. Justice League, we're not going to mess this up. That's what Derrick Henry is like. Like every year, this is going to be the year. He had a miracle 3 weeks in the playoffs. Now people want to draft him. Listen, I'm going to do it too. Like I get caught up into it. But my thing is it comes down to the coordinator. It comes down to the quarterback. Mike Vrabel is a fine coach, I suppose, but every one of these Belichick disciples has an amazing first season, and then they regress. Eric Mangini won 12 games, first year as the head coach of the Jets. He floundered the second year. Josh McDaniels didn't even make it out of his second year. So now you're asking this team that probably will end up drafting a quarterback next year to rely on Marcus Mariota to win that division with the Jags, and the Colts defense is amazing. You got the Texans. The Texans are back.
Yeah.
They got Justin Reed. Like, what a great pick for them last year. Justin Reed. I mean, like, there's a lot of competition. And this is why and I understand you could look at the records and say, like, well, how are you picking this thing? It's like, I'm looking at the quarterback. And I like Marcus Mariota probably than a lot more than other people. But my thing with Mariota is that when you're looking at that division, who's the fourth best quarterback in that league? Who is it? It's Mariota.
I mean,
and that's
for sure.
That's why I have them outside of the playoffs. Perhaps I was too harsh, not giving them 6 to 7 wins because their defense is pretty good. Yeah, and like you said, you're right on. You're spot on. Like Adam Humphreys is a nice pickup for them. The kid they drafted out of Mississippi, not bad for them either. But at the same time, tough division, tough to win games. Yeah. When you don't believe in your quarterback or you have questions about your quarterback, you're on your 4th offensive coordinator in 5 years. Like there's just too many. I don't know. Everybody's saying, well, hey, Arthur Smith has been there the whole time. Like he hasn't been calling the plays, and it just gives me a little bit of pause. If they would have brought Todd Monken or something, I would have been like, okay, this I can get into. This I'm buying.
Oh, yeah, but I definitely have them as mediocre. For sure.
If you bring in Tannehill, you definitely don't trust Mariota enough.
Like, exactly. You brought in Tannehill because when that hand goes out, you need a solid backup that has been in the league that can still just kind of at least keep you even killed. And that's what. And I factored in Mariota and his fragileness in with my take.
For sure. Again, I say the same thing as like I said with the Broncos. Like I don't see them winning many division games. Like you said, I think the Colts are going to do fantastic this year. I love the Texans. I think with Watson coming back healthy, and as long as he can stay healthy, which I think he should be okay. It looks like he did pretty well coming back from it. I don't see them winning a whole lot of division games. So I agree.
That's the problem. And again, Tennessee also has a tough start to the season. I know they open with Cleveland. Yeah, and it's one of those things that I'm a big Cleveland guy, so that's going to be tough for me to go ahead for them to get a win. And their first 4 games are also pretty tough. And they're in a situation where, again, they could be 0-4. Everybody wants Tannehill to start. Then where do you go from there?
Yeah, I got them beating Jacksonville. I got them beating Buffalo. They'll beat the Bucks. They'll beat the Panthers. They'll get one against Oakland later in the year, and then they'll beat New Orleans because New Orleans will bench all their players week 16. So because
fair enough.
Yeah, it's a default win there. Now you got some, Ty?
Yeah, last one we just wanted to wrap up is just Philly, the Eagles. You got them just flying high. I agree, they have done nothing but improved basically. They've brought in again. Amari Jackson did leave Jacksonville to come here. Fletcher Cox still here. They've done nothing but improve, but I don't know about 13 wins. That was my only thing. Like you are putting it in there. I can't see any team out of this division winning 13 games. So
that's solid. We're the only division where everyone has a ring.
They have to go through New England, Seattle, and Chicago. Yes, all three are at home, but those are tough games. And Dallas is no walkthrough. So again, just wanted to see your thoughts on where you had the Eagles going. If you think Carson can stay healthy all year, and how you think he'll do.
You know what? Look at the Eagles complete roster in the NFL right now. I know that Gil Brandt put out his report, and he had them, the Cowboys, and the Bears. I really do. The one thing with Carson Wentz is when you look back at his breakout season before he got hurt, like he was absolutely dealing. And I think that he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And I think that once we get a couple years removed from this stretch of injuries, we'll look back and be like, remember when he had injury problems? It's just one of those things. Some of them that's not, sometimes quarterbacks get hurt. I don't think that I would put him in the Sam Bradford category or anything like that, where you could just count on this guy getting hurt each and every season. I think that he's just going to go out there. He's going to rock it. I think that there's no team that's loaded, and you talked about all the names and all the players that they have. Like they're so deep at every position. They have such great depth at running back. Bringing Jordan Howard in is perfect for them to go with Miles Sanders, and the receivers are good. And I don't like it. I don't want to give Philadelphia the credit. I didn't like that they're trying to recruit Mike Trout. I didn't like the double doink. So there's a lot of reasons for me to be upset with Philadelphia. But you know what? I got to be realistic. I got to give them their credit where credit is due. I think they're going to win the NFC East. I think they win it going away. I'm sorry. I know everybody wants to believe in the Redskins a little bit more than I do, but I think that the Eagles kind of walk through that, and they don't make it look easy. I think it's a tough division, but man, I think that's probably outside of the Bears. But I think if I'm being more realistic, I think that's obviously the team to beat for the NFC side.
Exactly. Getting Deshaun Jackson back, he has the ability to take the top off the route, really challenge a safety back there. With that, and of course Alshon still with those two receivers alone, and then Zach Ertz. Can't forget
Dallas Goedert there too.
Yeah, so you can't. They're so deep. It's like when you look at the NBA, and you look at the Warriors lineup when healthy. It's like they have so much depth. What do you do? So I could see that. I could see maybe a 13-3, but I do also agree with what Ty said about this is the most competitive division in football. None of these teams are a walk in the park for each other. It's not like the AFC North, where it's just like easy.
Again, not only your division, like I said, Seattle has had their number for whatever reason it is. Yeah. Seattle has had their number, and them and Atlanta are two teams that the last since history have just battled it out. And I think Atlanta is going to be great having some guys come back. I think that game comes down to a touchdown or a field goal, if that. And we all know how hard it is to go into Lambeau and pull out a W, regardless of who and how much you got. So I just think they're another one of those teams that are very good, like the Bears, and just have a tough schedule. And honestly, I think the tough schedule helps them in the playoffs, the same as I think with the Bears. I think them having to go through some of these teams, it makes them better come playoff time, already playing them once and seeing how you match up against them.
So I got something that I think both of you are going to love. So kind of how Adam was saying, many of you guys had watched, Adam Ranks Projects special, which is, why we're all here. And he stated, that he saw a lot of wins, coming against the Steelers, where, you could go into their territory and walk away. I think that's going to be Lambeau this year. I think that, once again, going back to my take with the dysfunction between, Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur, I think that is going to factor, and Lambeau's going to be a place where you could go and you can win, despite that 12 man up in the stands.
Maybe not in the second half of the year though.
When it snows, I get that.
Nobody wants to go there.
Nobody wants to go there in the snow. I get that.
No, you're absolutely right, because I remember last year, because like just an example of last season, Josh Rosen, Steve Wilk, Cardinals, they go to Lambeau late in the year. They were blown out. I think the Packers beat them by 4. Oh wait, no, that's not. Wait, I have that backwards. The Cardinals crushed the Packers in Lambeau. Steve Wilkes, who was going to be fired at the end of the season. Yep. Josh Rosen, you know what? You swung me. I'm going to go redo my projections. The Packers are done. They're out of the playoffs. You know, I'm going to put Washington in. That's for that excellent point.
You guys heard it here first. Well, I mean, that's pretty much, I mean, what we got, man.
Yeah, we don't want to take up any more of your time. Know you're a busy man. So we appreciate you jumping in and at least, talking some football with us.
Hell yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and I appreciate everybody. Like even the people who are upset with me, it doesn't bother. It's totally cool. I appreciate it. It's fun talking to you. I hope we can do this again, perhaps before the season starts. But let's get this on the calendar.
Most certainly.
I already got it on the calendar to come up and try and meet you in Denver when you're coming into town. So not only that, we'd be more than honored to do it again before the season starts.
Oh yeah. Maybe
that would be cool. Yeah.
Maybe even we can come on your show sometime. I'm just saying.
Who knows?
Who knows? But I'm happy that
there it is.
What's that?
I love it. I love the enthusiasm.
Oh yeah, and we weren't mad when we saw your projections or anything like that.
Probably less mad than a lot of other people.
Yeah, because we do this as well, and like I could see where you were making your choices, and I was like, okay, like this makes sense here, this makes sense there. You factor in. I was even going as far as you factored in weather and stuff like that.
You got me on the Steelers. I was like Steelers playoffs, and then you said that, and I was like, damn, they aren't gonna make the playoffs.
They're the Kardashians of the NFL.
Yes.
Yes.
But other than that, we're gonna go ahead and in this broadcast, and you can stick around with us if you still want to ask us any questions. But to the fans, to you guys viewing, thank you guys for joining. We appreciate you guys. Y'all know how we sign off. Cheers to me.
Cheers to you.
All the Rumboyz and girls, what it do? Dilly dilly.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.